wow, my neck's really sore.
It's a popular class.
Yeah.
All right, well, you can take a seat. So we're going to start seated. If you want to sit on your cushion, you're welcome to. You do not have to, but we're going to use it for some shoulder work later. So, and good morning for those of you that I haven't officially met yet, I'm Hope. I'm actually the owner of the studio, and Margie is with her family today, so you get me. And so we'll work on some neck and shoulder stuff, and then, as always, if something doesn't feel right, please just say, hey, and I'll come on over. You don't feel like you have to zip your lips and just kind of deal with it, because everyone's body is different, and everyone's body reacts differently to things, so please feel free. You don't have to say, hey, but just kind of wave your hand, and I will happily come on over. We're going to start with just a little bit of breath work this morning. I'm just going to grab my timer, because we're going to do a couple things to keep track of time with. And, oops. All right, now that I'm situated, we're going to start seated. So sit however it is you feel comfortable. If cross-legged doesn't feel comfortable with you, extend your legs out. And whatever it is you feel like you can do to bring your body upright. And so the second we do that, our diaphragm is here. We all of a sudden have this instant space to breathe more fully. Even if we're not conscious of that, our body automatically does that. So just kind of pay attention to that slightly folded thoracic position that we get ourselves into. And then just slightly extending yourself upright. And then consciously drop your shoulders down and back. Try to make as much space around your entire neck as you can. And then on an exhalation, just gently let the eyes close. Maybe swallow to clear the throat for a moment. And before doing anything specifically, I just want you to draw attention and awareness to your whole body. How your feet feel, how your legs feel, your back, your shoulders, your neck, your head. And not making judgment on those feelings. Oftentimes we feel something and then we have to give it an identity immediately. This is good, this is bad, this happened because of this happened because of that. And so I want you to just observe. And so being the observer means there is no judgment. There is no criticism, there is no justification. It's just awareness in space and time, that's it. And then from that awareness in space and time, I want you to completely relax out the belly. Notice if there's any hesitation in the lower abdomen. And on the inhalation, allowing your body to expand. So yes, you might breathe into the lower belly and it might expand out. Maybe the rib cage pulls wide. Maybe the chest lifts. But I want you just to fill your torso with air. So as you inhale, feel it expand. And then as you exhale, try to smoothly let the air out. Try not to be like a popped balloon where all of a sudden it's all out in the beginning and you're kind of at the end. And then do that same thing again. Inhale, I just want you to drink in the breath. Don't worry about what expands first. Just breathe in. And then once you feel like you can't do that anymore, just reverse that and let all the air out. So we're going to do this for about another minute. And it always amazes me with breath work, and I have been there myself, where the second we start being still, we focus on our breath, our mind will say things like, this is silly, or we become very uncomfortable, because we are not used to being still. Our society doesn't promote being still. And so the action of turning inward requires us to be a little uncomfortable and to learn to be okay with that. One thing yoga has taught me is just because I don't like something doesn't mean I don't need it. And so I want you to continue to pay attention to your breathing. Just inhaling, let yourself expand. Don't judge it, don't analyze it, just let air in. And when you can't do it anymore, exhale, reverse that, and move that same air out, and maybe even some extra stale air that's been lingering that hasn't yet been released. And just do that one or two more times for me. Just the act of simply slowing down and breathing, we deeply affect our sympathetic and our parasympathetic nervous system, getting us out of that constant fight or flight where we react so quickly. And so after that last very aware and alert breath, still sitting tall, and however it is comfortable for you, I want you to drop the chin to the chest. So just let the chin drop to the chest. And as you do that, I'm going to actually turn sideways. You can stay exactly as you are. Interlace your fingers behind you, and if you feel like you can't clasp comfortably, there's your strap. So grab that strap and just hold the strap as close as you can, mimicking a clasped hand. And roll your shoulders together without pushing your chest forward. So just make your shoulder blades roll in and your chin drop down. Now pull your knuckles towards the floor without pushing your chest forward. So just nice deep breath in and nice deep breath out. I'm sure I'm not the only one that has recognized all of these little spaces in our bodies that just slowly start to all pull together, and the next thing you know, we're stiff, we're tight, we're sore. Didn't start out that way. All of a sudden we just wake up one day and there it is. Now keeping the shoulders moving down and back without pushing your rib cage forward, I want you to roll the head up and over to the left. Just going to very gently roll your head up and over to the left. Keep pulling your knuckles down and back. And then drop the head back down to the chest. And roll it up and over nice and slow to the right. Keep your shoulders moving down and back. We're not looking for this huge moving mountain sensation. We're just looking to peel away one layer at a time. Remember, that's how we got here, one layer at a time. Drop the chin back to the chest. Now, inhale, look up, and now you get to push your chest forward. Try to keep some space in the back of the neck, and try to pull your thumbs now off your hips. So you're actually going to move your hands now away from your back versus just moving them down towards the floor. So now we're trying to make this really great immediate space in our torso. Nice deep breath in, nice deep breath out. And exhale, release the arms down. Just roll the shoulders up towards the ears, bring them down and back. And then one more time, up to the ears, and bring them down and back. Still sitting nice and tall. Let's drop the head to the left now. So now the head's going to go to the left. And you're actually going to take your right hand and bring it behind you towards your left hip. Grab hold of that wrist. Bring it over to the left. So now the right side of your neck is opening up. The right shoulder is actually pulling down away from your earlobe. And that right shoulder that you're stretching away from is actually rolling backwards too even. And so you can give the wrist behind you a little tug or a little larger tug, depending on how much your neck allows you to. And don't be surprised if you start to feel some sensations in your underarm. Nice deep breath in, nice deep breath out. Okay, switch wrists. So you're just going to switch hands. Bring that arm over to the opposite hip. Bring the head up. And simply bring the head to the opposite side. Keep the shoulders relaxing. Remember that shoulder you're moving away from. That's your left shoulder. The shoulder near the door you came in. That shoulder is also trying to roll backwards. So if you do any type of positioning with your body during the day that kind of asks you to slightly round forward, even things as simple as leaning over a counter, the front chest muscles can get really tight, which impact and impair our breathing. So try to roll the left shoulder open. And then release the hands down, bring the head back up to center. Awesome. You're going to come off your cushion and extend your legs out in front. And if your hamstrings are feeling really tight, or they kind of make you feel like you want to sit like the letter C, slide your blocks under your knees So this is a really easy little trick that makes sitting with legs long a lot easier, especially since we haven't done anything with hamstrings yet. So basically you've just given yourself the ability to sit a little bit more stacked without trying to hold your legs in a bent position. So if they don't want to sit long automatically, just kind of assist them in that process. Awesome. Give your legs a little activity and flex your feet. Now lengthen up your spine as much as you can. So try to get your back long. And now try to get your back long without pushing your chest forward again. So what we do with this part of our body impacts how this feels so deeply, even our lower back. I want you to relax those front ribs down again. Think about lengthening up through the crown of the head rather than the front of the chest. Awesome. Keep that really great length. Inhale, extend your arms out to T. So your legs are anchoring into the mat. Your arms are extending out. You can feel free to pat the neighbor on the shoulder. Tell them good job. And we're going to rotate our arms. So one arm is going to go down and forward. The other arm is going to go back and up. So just try to go as far as you can in your shoulders. And then reverse that and go the opposite way. You're going to notice one shoulder is going to roll forward. Totally okay. And so just do that a few times without pushing your chest front to back. So just notice the range of motion your shoulders have and how far they can go. You might hear some clicking and popping, especially if what's called your rotator, which are the muscles around your shoulder, are maybe really tight on one side but overstretched on another, which is very common. And so once you've done that a few times each way, really challenge yourself. How far can you go? There's where we go and there's where we can go. And then back to center. You're going to move to the left. So exhale, drop your left arm to the floor. Turn your right palm and forearm up. And now bring the arm all the way over alongside the ear, reaching towards the closet door or letting the top arm bend, and you're actually going to hold on to the bottom side of the head. So you can actually use your head like a bowling ball anchor to try to open up that right side of the body. Now use your bottom arm not to lock, but rather relax the shoulder and actually let the elbow bend. And then push the mat to help you anchor the opposite hip. So I like the bowling ball anchor. I feel like I can get a little bit more open without struggle. Some people really like the reach, so feel free to find what works for you. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. Extend your arm again. Inhale, come back up. 3 times rotation. So we're going to go front to back. One arm goes one way, one arm goes the other. So we're going to do that 3 times each way. Really try to challenge how far your shoulders go. Get the actual shoulder joint involved. It's not just the wrist and elbow. And after you've done those 3 times, we're going to move over to the right. So nice deep breath in. Let's move over towards the windows. Drop the arm down. Relax the shoulder, so bend out the elbow. Top arm turns up and comes alongside the ear. As you side bend to the right, the goal is not the floor. The goal is to keep your left hip down and extend. And if you like that bowling ball, grab the side of the head and use your bottom hand and push into the floor to try to open up your side body. And so nice deep breath in, nice deep breath out. And as you breathe, as you feel, as you move in class today, just remember our mind likes categories. Our mind loves filing cabinets. So when we feel stuff, it likes to categorize it. Good, bad, hurts, doesn't hurt, like this, don't like this. So try not to fall into that trap of categorizing every experience. And then inhale, come back up. Arms come all the way up overhead. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Awesome. Let's bend the knees, bring the bottoms of the feet together. This is called down angle. Release the glutes just by rocking side to side. Sometimes that tissue gets stuck under your sit bones. And as a good rule of thumb, any sort of knee pain or discomfort, push your heels further forward. So if your hips and knees aren't happy, just bring your heels forward until they are. Inhale, lengthen up the spine. Remember, get your chest off your belly. And as you exhale, trying to keep your chest off your belly, slowly start to fold forward. So in that effort to come forward, remember the mind likes to categorize, all of a sudden the mind will say, the goal is to get your nose to your toes. The goal is not to get your nose to your toes. The goal is to extend forward through the crown of your head and keep length in your spine. So if all of a sudden you start to feel like you're rounding like a turtle shell, I want you to extend your heart forward again. So the more you can keep a long spine, the more you're going to keep that stretch in the hips, in the sacrum, in the groin, in the lower back. So I don't care if you fold an inch or you fold 10 inches. Nice deep breath in. Nice deep breath out. The second we are judging our body, we are no longer feeling in our body. Inhale, slowly come back up. And you're going to cross your legs. So if this isn't comfortable, feel free, you can go back to the straight-legged variation. So we're going to sit nice and tall. And with that nice and tall, extend your arms back out again. We're going to move over to the left again. So nice deep breath out, move to the left. Bring your top arm up towards the sky. Remember, relax the bottom shoulder. This time, I want you to drop the arm as far back as it can go, turning your heart up a little bit. So remember, keep that bottom elbow bent. Now flex the top palm. And just try to open your chest as much as you can. If it's uncomfortable to look up, first keep your chin to your chest. That will help. Or two, look down towards your left side. Inhale, arm comes back to the sky. And exhale, pull yourself back upright. Inhale, arms come up overhead. Interlace your fingers. Now turn your palms up, bring your head to neutral. You're going to look towards me and try to pull your arms back behind your ears until maybe you can't see your arms again in your peripheral vision. As you do that, can you avoid pushing your chest forward? So just make the arms, the shoulder sockets, do the work. Remember, the pose is about getting there, not just being there. As you exhale now, round out your back. Push your stretching palms forward. Relax your shoulders, chin to the chest. Inhale, push your palms back up. This time you get to arc your back. Look up even. Just go as far as you can. The whole goal is to feel. Exhale, push your palms forward. Round out your back. Pull your shoulder blades apart. And then inhale. Coming back up, arcing the back, pulling the arms back. And then exhale, breaking the arms back down towards the floor. Roll the shoulders up to the ears. Bring them down and back. Awesome. Bottoms of the feet together, bound angle. This time I want you to give yourself a little bit more space, purposefully, between your pelvis and your heels. Maybe a hand's length, maybe more, maybe less, but at least a hand's length. Inhale, get that length again in your spine. And actually use your hands holding kind of to the underside of the ankle. And as you push your shins down, you're going to try to extend up through the top of your head. So let your shoulder literally be pulled down. So maybe you're going to get a little bit of stretch around the neck. Now look to the left. Keep that stretch going. Push your knees down. Try to sit super tall. Turn, turn, turn until you can't turn anymore. And then when you can't turn anymore, look with your eyes. So actually try to look out of the corners of the eyes. Most of what we look at in today's world is anywhere from 2 to 4 inches directly in front of us. Newspaper, iPad, phone, tablet, computer screen. And so our eyes no longer have this challenge of looking in all different directions. So bring the head back to center. Keeping that long spine, let's turn the opposite way. Try not to tip the head. So keep the right side of the neck really long. Even pull your left shoulder back a little bit. And when the head can't turn anymore, challenge your eyes. I find in my own practice even, and then the mind kind of gets lazy, and it's like, oh, okay, I don't want to do that anymore. So we just kind of wait. I don't want you to wait. I want you to keep pursuing the pose, keep pursuing the breath, keep challenging yourself. Just the sheer challenge of being present is sometimes the most difficult part of the practice. And then back to center. Keep that length. Exhale, fold. So we're trying to fold from our hips, which is way down where our pockets would be. Our waist is way up where our belly button is. I want you to move from your hips, even if it's just a few inches, a few centimeters. Now take your arms and reach them as far forward as they can go. So just increasing that length in your back. And if your arms don't go far, there's still a stretch there. There's still length happening. Try to tune in to the smallest changes in your body. And we can do that best by breathing. Inhale, rise back up, nice and slow. If you're crossing your legs, this time try to cross with your unnatural leg in front. I always notice why is this so uncomfortable and the other side is so comfortable. It always just kind of, my brain gets so wrapped around it. All right, so try to find as much of a comfortable position in this variation as you can. Arms outstretch again. This time we're going to go over to the right, so let's side bend to the right. Relax your bottom shoulder. This is not a stilt. I want you to bend and release. Top arm comes up to the sky. Inhale, let the arm fall back as far as it can go. And then flex your palm as though you're trying to pull your knuckles and your fingernails to the floor. Remember, if your head isn't comfortable looking up, pull the chin tight to the shoulder and chest. If that's still not comfortable, turn the head and look down towards your right side. There may be temporary, a little bit of numbness and tingling, especially if you have a nerve that's pinched under tight fascia or muscle. And so feel free if you have to adjust your arm, but usually that's very temporary, and that'll go away once you come out. Inhale, arm comes back up. Extend up, arms to teeth. Turn your palms up. Inhale, arms come up overhead. And exhale, bring it back to the heart. Awesome. Release the arms down. You're going to face me and come into tabletop. So hands and knees. And just bring your knees so that they're about a hip's distance width. That's perfect. Awesome. So you can just face me. Perfect. And then we're going to turn the palms around. So you're actually going to flip your hand around. So your thumb is on the outside. Your palm is facing the floor, on the floor. And your pinky is on the inside. Then we're going to do the same thing with the opposite hand. So as far as kneeling goes, you can be as close to your fingertips or as far back away from your fingertips as you feel is manageable for kneeling. Awesome. So the best that you can, try to turn your fingertips so they're actually facing your kneecaps. So just notice, this is called rotation. This rotation is actually happening at the shoulder. Awesome. Now push into your palms and broaden up your back. So now you have this great little stretch in your upper back. Slowly and mindfully, start to lean back. As you lean back, I want you to try to push the pinky side of the palm into the floor just a little bit more. So whether you lean 1/4 of an inch or whether you lean 5 inches, try to keep the arms nice and long and pushing the heels of the hands into the floor. Almost everything that we do during the day asks us to close our hand, and so very little asks us to open our hand. And if we've ever heard of the word carpal tunnel, well, we all have a carpal tunnel. Carpal tunnel is just inflammation in the little teeny cavity, the little cave that your nerves and your muscles bundle up and move through. So it's irritated, it's not moving enough, there's not enough fluidity, enough mobility, and then they get angry. We're just trying to alleviate some of that pain, some of that tension. And so nice deep breath in. Try to keep long arms, a broad back. And then let's release that and reverse it. So now you're going to be on the tops of your hands, palms face up, and folds of the elbows are going to turn and face forward. And so just a little counter pose. So if you look at your elbows and where they bend, I don't want you to have them facing you. I want you to actually try to turn them and face me. I'm just drawing some gratitude here for your hands. They do so much for you. And how much we rely on these body parts every day and how much they show up for us. And then just kind of release them out, roll out the wrists, open and close the hands. That stiffness is your fascia stretching and moving, so that will dissipate. Awesome. All right, back in the tabletop position. So fingertips nice and wide, open up your hand. Arms are going to stay nice and long like stilts. Folds of the elbows forward. Protraction, retraction. It's not an elbow bend, okay? We're going to keep our belly strong, rib cage lifted, hip bones lifted, so we don't look like we have a seat for a horse on our back. We're going to keep ourselves kind of table-like. And on the inhalation, pinching the shoulder blades above your spine, so you feel like your chest sinks down, your head kind of sinks down. And then exhaling, broadening and pressing up towards the sky. This is not a rounding of your back. This is not cat-cow. Inhale, sinking into the shoulder blades, trying to pinch them above your back. And then exhale, pushing and broadening. Feeling a stretch, kind of from inner shoulder blade to inner shoulder blade. So as though I would kind of put a piece of tape across your upper back. So inhale, you're sinking, pinching. Exhale, you're broadening, opening. And so we're going to do this a couple of times. This is called range of motion. We're actually moving in your shoulder socket. We're moving in your upper back. And if this has become very frozen for any of you, I know we've all been there. I've had a shoulder issue at one point and my shoulder just wouldn't move. What happens is we start dropping the chest and belly. So our brain goes, I really want to do this move. I don't want to disappoint you. So it finds a neighboring body part that can make the movement feel like what we're trying to do. So I really want you to pay attention. Is it actually my upper back? Is it actually my shoulder blades pinching and spreading? Or is it my chest, my belly? Where am I actually moving? You might notice this is fatiguing. There's muscles there. This is what I like to call a scapular push-up. Strengthening your shoulder girdle. So we're going to try to do about 3 more. I'm just kind of watching here, because sometimes, again, this can be a kind of a confusing movement. So we're going to sink and pinch right here. So actually, going to kind of almost feel like you're sloppy in your tabletop. Let your chest relax down. There we go. Keep going. Keep going. Don't let your elbows bend. Don't let your elbows bend. Yep, and now broaden the space out. So push down to the floor. Yeah, there you go. So you're just going to keep trying to increase that range of motion. Yep, sink, 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 sink. And broaden. Awesome. You might notice that one shoulder kind of is like a dunk, and the other one moves really smoothly. One arm has better range of motion than the other if you've ever injured yourself. These are the little teeny muscles deep inside your shoulder girdle that we cannot touch on the surface. These are the little teeny muscles that save you from a shoulder injury. All right, now come back up to tabletop. Widen your knees. Exhale, sit back towards your heels. Just take a moment, breathe. Forehead towards the floor. Inhale, float back up to tabletop. All right, so we're going to take this one more step here. So what's going to happen is we're going to actually be on one hand. So feel free, I'm going to give you just kind of time so you can move as slow as you want, and you can take breaks in between if you need to. We're going to keep working on that shoulder girdle. And so one hand is actually going to be behind the head, okay? And so as we do this, we're going to sink into the opposite shoulder and close ourselves down. And then using that base arm, we're going to push up and then actually try to open ourselves up as far as we can go. Using that base arm. I want you to notice my elbow. I'm trying to keep the fold of my elbow forward. I'm not letting my arm turn towards my knees, and I'm going to come around and make sure that does that, helps you guys. And then we're going to, again, sink and close just nice and slow. Go as far as I can without bending the elbow, and then I'm going to push into my base arm, and then really challenge the elbow of the upper arm and try to pull it back as I push into my bottom arm. If you feel like, wowzers, this is not a big movement, you feel like you won't go very far. And then exhale again, close it down nice and slow. Sink into the bottom shoulder without bending the elbow. Push into the arm, fold of the elbow turns forward. Try to open your arm, pull your top elbow back. Awesome. So we're going to go for about a minute now. Exhale when you sink. Inhale when you open. Really challenge the top elbow. Try to pull it back as far as you can as you really push down into the base arm. I spent the last 15 years studying the body, and one thing that I have come to realize and come to know and find out and really try to apply to yoga is little movements are much harder than big movements. Whether it be they are more mentally challenging or they are more physically challenging. I think it's a combination of both. But asking us to do things, really powerful things, really deep things in really small ways. And sometimes I feel like they can be mentally challenging because they don't give us that instant gratification that we often like to have. All right, one more. You're doing really good. This is that stretch, strengthen combination. And then after that last one, release your hand from the back of the head, widen your knees again. Exhale, sit back towards your heels, forehead towards the floor. See if you can just relax your upper body completely. Maybe turn your palms up. Otherwise, just really relax your body down. Where's your breathing? If you've cut off your breath, your mind is trying to keep control of your body and of your practice. So every time we choose to breathe, we step away from the mind. All right, and now bring it back up. We're going to go to try the opposite side. So here we go. Let's set ourselves up for tabletop. Hand comes behind the head. We're going to sink into the shoulder as far as we can go. Sink down. Let the elbow behind the head kind of sink towards the floor a little bit. And then using the bottom arm, push into the floor like an elevator. Start to open the elbow towards the sky. Maybe look sideways. Really challenge. Where's that end range? And then drop down. I really want to challenge you to not leave the movement premature from what your body is fully capable of. And what I mean by that is like we kind of get to the point where it's like, oh, this is a little uncomfortable. Okay, I don't think I can go any farther. And then all of a sudden we just go back to where we were. I want you to stay just an extra moment longer to see if you can open just a little bit further. Really push into the base arm. How open can you go? This isn't about forcing our body where we can't go. This is about exploring where we can go. And if everything up until this point of stepping onto the mat, we've never really listened to our body before, this can be a very overwhelming feeling. So I just want you to stay calm, just move slow, just breathe. It's like meeting a new friend. You know nothing about them. But over time you start to know almost everything about them. And that's really essentially how we have to kind of approach our bodies. And then after this last one that you're on, just slowly bring the hand down, take your time. Open the knees wide again, give yourself some space. Exhale, sit back. Arms can stay extended, palms down or up. Or arms can tuck back behind you. You can rest your arms on the floor. You can sit on your hands. You can grab your heels. However it is you feel like your body can bring itself to a point where you can breathe Inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. And challenge yourself. Any form of judgment, criticism, categorizing that comes into your brain, you have to choose to breathe. Inhale, rise back up to tabletop. So hands and knees. All right, this time extend your right leg back. So I'm going to do left leg, you're going to do right leg. Extend your leg back. Foot is on the floor. Square your hip down, and now keep your belly picked up. Using your arm strength, push back into your heel and stretch out your calf. Push into your arms so you actually feel a stretch in your upper back at the same time. So try not to let your upper body escape here, the pose. Really try to push your heel back as far as it can go. And now pay enough attention to your leg to notice, okay, is this stretch predominantly in the middle of the calf? Is it running down the outside? Is it running down the inside? Sometimes when I meet people for the first time, I say, what problems, any issues? And they're like, I have back pain. Well, your back is a really big area. And a lot of times it's just because they're not connected with their body. So I want you to get specific. Where? Take ownership over your body. Exhale, slide now that knee all the way up, back into tabletop, and slide the opposite leg all the way back. And now reaching through the heel, use your arms, keep broad in the back, don't get sloppy in your chest. And push your heel as hard as you can back in a nice way that doesn't act as though you're kind of fighting your body. I want you to challenge your body. I want you to meet yourself where you are. Don't let yourself get lazy in the pose. But there's also a line of going too far. So you have to dance between those two lines. And that's why you have to stay present in the pose. And then the mind will creep in and go, okay, this is good, this is bad, I like this, I don't like this. I don't want to do this, I do want to do this. And then that's why we breathe. Because it helps start to quiet the mind. We can stay in the body. We can get specific. And then slowly bring that leg back up. Awesome. All right, from here, let's step forward with your left foot. So left foot steps forward. Grab your blocks. So you have 2 blocks, hopefully. If you don't, I'll bring you over a second one here in just a sec. Perfect. All right, so grab 1 block for each hand. Just makes it a little bit easier. Lift the floor up for yourself. Roll the back toes under and lift the knee up off the floor. So now you are in runner's lunge. If you look at your feet, they're hips distance. So that means your feet aren't on, I'm going to fall over, 1 water ski. They're on 2 water skis. So they're literally in line with your hips. And then scooch your back leg far enough back so that your booty is not higher than your head or your shoulders. So make sure you have a nice long line. Now either come up onto your fingertips on the block, so that kind of takes the pressure off your hands, or you're going to come up onto your fists. I just want you to have a couple extra inches here, and you'll see why in a second. On the exhalation, pushing through the back heel, just like we did before, I want you to sink into your hips and bring the crown of the head as much to the sky as you can. Now check your front foot for me, and it should be flat on the floor. The knee should be somewhat in range with the ankle. So if you kind of feel like this, your front foot needs to go quite a more distance forward. So this is called sinking runner's lunge. Inhale, bring yourself back up. And then exhale, back heel pushes. Groin, that's your hip pocket, sinks towards the floor. Crown of the head comes way up to the sky. And then inhale, bring yourself back up and out. Again, exhale, front knee lunges, back heel pushes, right groin sinks and opens, pause, and then bring yourself back up again. Awesome, so we're going to go for a minute. I know, a minute, right? You can do it. Have faith in yourself. All right. A little bit of a variation if you feel like, okay, I want to keep going, but I really need a little bit of a break. come on your knee, but just make sure the knee is further back than the hip, and you're going to sink in the groin. And then you're going to bring yourself back up again. So don't be surprised if your body temperature goes up about 10 degrees here. So exhale, sink, pushing through the back heel like it's trying to touch the wall. Crown of the head is coming up to the sky. And you're slowly bringing yourself back up again. So we got about 20 counts, so maybe about 2 to 3 more. Just nice and slow. Try to minimize how much that back knee bends. So it's the groin, it's the pocket of the hip that's sinking down. And then after this last one here, you're doing great. Bring it up nice and slow. Use your back leg to help push you forward into standing forward bend. Now take a moment here. If you want to shift your blocks forward to keep that stability for yourself, great. Just bend and straighten your legs a few times. Relax your head. Allow your pelvis to balance itself out. So if you've ever had any sort of back, lower back or upper back sensation, tension, pain, tightness, the groin often has a lot to do with that. Because it has a really important muscle called the psoas that comes through the abdomen and actually grabs onto the rib cage and can pull it down. And then it attaches to every single lower vertebrae, so it can create a lot of tension back there. All right, let's do the opposite side. Here we go. Bend the knees, slide your blocks back by your ankles, step a really big step back. So you want a pretty healthy stride. Now remember again, you can be on the back knee, but just make sure that knee is a good distance behind you. Exhale as you sink, flat fists or fingertips. Push heavy through the back heel as you bring the crown of the head to the sky. Pause, and then slowly bring yourself back up again. And then again, back heel pushes, push, push, push. Groin sinks, crown up, pause, and then slowly bring it back up again. So we're going to try that minute again. If you need a moment for yourself, you just pause, breathe, collect yourself, then do that. Pay attention to if you make choices in your movements based on what the mind says or based on what the body is feeling. Because many times those are two very different things. It's kind of like when you see a marathoner just having run 22 miles, sprint the last mile or the last half a mile. Their mind is tired, but they find this little bit of reserve somewhere in their body to push forward. So we have about 10 counts, so let's see if we can maybe get 2 more in at least here. Just nice and slow. After that last one, use the back leg like a little bit of a spring, and you're going to help bring yourself forward into standing forward bend. Nice job. Shift your blocks forward if you need them for help for balance. Bend and straighten the legs a few times. Just relax your body a little bit like a wet noodle. As you bend and straighten the legs, let yourself come back together, come back to life. And then if your strap is nearby, you can grab that. Otherwise, as we roll up, you can always bend back down and grab your strap. So just slowly bring yourself up. Awesome. Find your strap, and you're going to come to the center of the mat. And so anywhere you want to be in the center of your mat is just fine with me. But now bring your footing to more of like a hips distance. So I don't care if it's outer hip or inner hip, but just bring yourself to a little bit more of a narrow stride. And then look at your feet, because a lot of times we have this little bit of turnout in our footing, and a lot of times our shoes mask that, we just don't notice it. So I want you to try to line up the outer edges of the feet with the outer edges of the mat. And then hopefully we just feel a little bit more forward, although that sometimes can make us feel a little bit more pigeon-toed. All right, so once you have that for yourself, we have what's called neutral pelvis. So your pubis bone's down here, your hip bones are up here. These 3 bony protrusions are going to be level or parallel with the wall behind me. So essentially we're trying to stack our pelvis. So our core is beneath us, not behind us. And then relax your front rib cage down too. This is going to be really important as we work with the shoulders. So bring the front ribs down. They're not going to open like doors on a cabinet. You keep those down. And grab your strap and you're going to fold it in half. I'm going to stay sideways so you can see a side profile because that's really where you want to look a little bit more. And your arms are going to be, I'd say, a little bit wider than your outer hip. You can always go wider if you need to, depending on what your shoulder girdle wants you to do. All right, so inhale, here we go, arms come up. They're going to come up, 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 up as far as they can go without pushing your rib cage forward. So when my range of motion in my shoulders meets its end limit, my brain goes, but I want you to go farther. All of a sudden, we start pushing the chest forward, but really not all we're doing is tipping. We're not really working in the shoulder. So I want you to keep those ribs down. Okay. Once you've done that for yourself, relax the shoulder blades, relax the neck, and try to lengthen through your elbows and pull out wide on the strap. So to challenge that openness. The arms are going to move to the right, to the left, which is the closet door. So move just your arms. You're either going to be next to your head or behind your head. Keeping your strap open like you're trying to pull it apart. Try not to let that top elbow bend. As you do that now, bend your left knee, that's the knee by the door, and now you're going to side bend. Leaning your hips to the right, which is the window on the side. Keep trying to stretch open the strap. Don't let that top elbow bend. Inhale, come back up. Relax your shoulders. Arms are going to move towards the window now. So just the arms, without letting the top elbow bend. There's the brain again stepping in going, you should be here. All right, bend your right knee. That's the knee by the window. Slide your hips to the closet. Resist bending the elbow. So now all your obliques on the left side are really kicking in. Open your arms, pull the strap wide. Breathe. It's okay for something to be challenging. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. Now bring yourself up nice and slow. Exhale, lower the arms down. Roll the shoulders up, down, and back. And again, up, down, and back. Take the strap behind you, and you're going to hold it again about hips width or outer hips width. Once we fold, you can play with the strap by turning the arms in. Or you can also stay with the strap as you are. If you have really tight shoulders and the arms don't want to pull away from the hips, you can slide your arms open as wide as the folded strap. Okay? So you have some room here. Bend your knees deeply. Inhale, just give yourself a little bit of a heart opener. Roll your shoulder blades together. Exhale now, fold forward. And keep your knees as bent as you need to so your belly kind of has some sort of connection point or nearby connection point. So I actually almost feel like I'm sitting more than I'm standing straight leg. That's going to give you a little bit more range of motion in your hips. All right, let the arms pull away from the back. Remember, you have all of that strap length to open up to if necessary. You can roll the arms in, you can roll them out. Notice where on your shoulder, if we really want to get specific, your rotator, are you tight? Is it the inside edge when you turn your arm? Oh no, that's the outside edge. That's way more restricted. So if we do what we always do, we will never do what we never do. Keep breathing. And slowly bring yourself back up, nice and slow. Awesome. All right, hold the strap with your left hand. Doesn't matter which end. And you're going to extend your left arm up towards the sky. Keep the rib cage relaxed down. Now look at my arms. So I want you to actually turn the fold of the elbow in towards your head and then try to turn it backwards behind you. So this is actually called external rotation. So if it makes more sense for you to do it here and then bring it up, that's totally fine. Rib cage stays down. Now bend the elbow. This is why that rotation is so important, because we want the tricep facing me versus facing sideways. All right, opposite arm comes around. I'm going to turn around again. And we're just going to kind of slide our hand up our back as far as we can go. The reason why I like using the strap is because just because we can maybe touch fingertips doesn't mean we're going to get a really good stretch out of it, because all of a sudden we're limited in our range of motion. So I don't care if your arm's down here. I just don't want your arm all the way down here. So you're going to try to walk it up comfortably, somewhere around the rib cage. All right, once we've done that for ourselves, give a little tug down on the bottom arm to try to bring the top elbow a little bit more upright. You might notice, oh, I can get my hand a little bit higher. Great. Without pushing the chest out. There's that sneaky little cheating the mind wants to give you that sensation of going farther. I don't care if you're an inch in. All right, once we have that little bit of tug of war going on, bottom hand to elbow, roll the bottom shoulder open. So I'm actually using my fist, my bottom fist, to top of my hand, pushing into my back to help me roll that shoulder open. So now it's underarm, tricep, and now also maybe pectoral and underarm on that bottom side. So we shouldn't feel like the shoulder's like this. We want to roll it open. So top elbow pushes up, bottom hand pulls down, bottom shoulder rolls open. Nice deep breath in, nice deep breath out. And I just want to always caution you, you're going to feel stiff when you come out. Fascia incorporates or encompasses our whole body. That fascia is what gives you that stiff feeling. It's like the netting on the oranges when you buy a bag. All right, now slowly let out the bottom arm. Slowly let out the top arm. Shoulders up to the ears, down and back. Let's do that 3 times. Up to the ears, down and back. One more time. Up to the ears, down and back. All right, offer a moment of gratitude. You only have 2 arms. All right, opposite arm comes up. Remember again, the fold of the elbow turns up. It's actually happening at the shoulder. So then when I bend my elbow, my tricep is pointing forward. It's okay if your elbow is down here. Now you're actually stretching your tricep, stretching your underarm attachments. Here you're not. Okay, that's why this feels easier and more comfortable, because you're avoiding all of this. All right, take your bottom arm without pushing the chest out. Okay, keep the ribs down. You're going to slide your hand up your back, just go as far as you can comfortably. Once you have that connection, re-encourage the top elbow to go to the sky without pushing the chest out. And then the bottom shoulder, we're going to try to roll it open by actually using our hand, pushing it into our back a little bit. And so just nice deep breath in, and nice deep breath out. Try to stand really tall. Bring your whole body into it. I know right now it's primarily the arms, but I want you to stand tall through the crown of the head. Find a focal point for your eyes. Give your mind no reason to go, okay, now I'm going to think about something else. Focus means that we are paying total and complete attention to what it is that we're doing. And the truth is, we just don't do that enough anymore. We almost glorify the whole idea of multitasking. But when we multitask, we pay attention to nothing. It's okay for your mind to be frustrated. It's okay for your mind to be distracted. But I want you to stay in the pose and stay with your breathing for as long as you can, honoring your body. I'm going to try to say about 2 more breaths. Now, on the next exhalation, let your bottom arm out slow, let your top arm down slow. Bring your shoulders up to your ears, bring them down and back. Create really good range of motion, really exaggerate the movement. And after that last one, take your feet a little bit wider. I like to call this A-frame. It's not quite your straddle, but it's definitely not hips distance. Like your mat's distance is perfect. Line up the outer edges of the feet with the outer edges of the mat. Take your strap behind you again. This time you can be, again, as wide as your strap or as outer hips. We are going to turn the palms in. So your pinkies are going to go towards each other. If you need to re-grab, that's fine. Kind of latch all your fingers around. Inhale with a nice little bend in your knees. Bring your pelvis forward a little bit. Arc back a little bit. And then exhaling, hinge forward. Bend out your knees as much as your body will let you. Let your arms pull away from your back. Let your chin actually tuck into your chest a little bit. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling through the nose. Inhaling through the nose. And exhaling through the nose. Slowly bring yourself back up, nice and slow. And then release the arms, just roll the shoulders once. Awesome. Step your feet together nice and slow. And you're going to make your way down onto your mat. So you can sit down however it is you want to. Totally fine with me. And you're actually going to take your cushion. So the cushions are kind of shaped like a heart. So you're going to take your heart cushion. And if you have a bean one, you can just kind of melt it down a little bit. And you're going to lay your heart cushion behind you. So your head can go towards the windows or towards me. It doesn't matter. But the heart half, the top half, is going to be facing where your head is going to go. And then you're going to sit, and it's not like your hips are going to be up towards the end of the cushion. So you have to do a little bit of adjusting maybe just for a second. As you lay back, you're going to have the top half, that heart cushion, is going to be up near your shoulders. It's not going to line up with the top of your shoulder. You want to be a little bit higher than that. But still have your hips on the floor so that now your arms can rest in what we call a cactus position. Your head is on the floor. So it's going to take a little finagling so you feel like your shoulders are hanging off the cushion. Your shoulder blade is not really the right body part, but it kind of feels like your shoulder blades are kind of hanging down above that part of the cushion. So the chest feels a little splayed open. Now your knees can stay bent. Your legs can drop open into bound angle. Your legs can extend all the way out to each corner of the mat. But you should feel this kind of open chest, dropping shoulders type of sensation. And if you're like, it just doesn't feel quite right, just say, hey, and I'll come on over. So let's move your cushion way down. There, now. Does that feel okay? Okay, cool. So we're just going to stay here for about 2 minutes, so not very long. And again, if you just feel like it just feels kind of off, feel free to kind of scooch a little bit. Yep, so it's going to be a little bit of a stretch, yep. So if you're tighter, if you're tighter in your underarm, shoulder, pec, chest, and you have those arms hanging open in cactus here, that's where you're going to feel that stretch. And so just nice deep breath in, nice deep breath out. Gravity is going to do us some good here. And gravity is just going to kind of blanket down on you as you breathe and rest. And just thank yourself for coming to practice this morning. I'm just going to try to stay here for about 1 more minute. And then after that minute's time, I'll invite you, if you'd like to just come onto your back flat. If you feel like this feels really nice, it's really relaxing, feel free, you can stay here. So that's totally up to you. See if you can go back to recognizing your breathing. How it feels to inhale, how it feels to exhale. And so at this point, if you'd like to come onto your back flat, just roll off to your side and kind of pull the cushion out from underneath you. If you feel like you want to stay here a little bit longer, you're welcome to. But as you come onto your back flat, I want you to really kind of open your back body, kind of wiggle into the mat. Open your legs to a place where your hips can feel as open and as soft as possible. To a place where your body doesn't feel any restriction. If you need head support, feel free, you can use the cushion for that head support. But taking a nice deep inhalation through the nose, feel your body expand completely. Sometimes it's actually easier to breathe laying down. And then exhaling, feel your body just totally and completely submerge into the floor. Give yourself that mental opportunity to just relax. I just want to remind you that the mind often wants us to be constantly doing, engaged in things, multitasking. Yoga reminds us the benefit of one-pointedness. And the value of our breathing. Exhale. So as you rest on the floor here, I just want you to bend your knees now and take your feet as wide as your yoga mat and steeple your knees together. So if the knees don't comfortably touch with as wide as the yoga mat, then just narrow them up until they do actually completely rely on each other, much like building a teepee. One stick just completely leans into the next. And then slide your arms gently overhead. Let your palms rest facing out. Just let them drop into the floor. Exhale, your body submerges into the mat. And for the next minute, I want you to deeply pay attention to your breathing. And so on the inhalation, let your body fully and completely expand. Really try to challenge the inhalation. Fill your belly, widen your lungs. You may even notice your diaphragm starting to drop. And then exhale, move the breath out through your nose, fully and completely, like you'd empty a balloon. Belly drops in, ribs collapse down, chest deflates. And then repeat that process again, nice and slow. Just think about filling yourself with air evenly. Really challenge until you absolutely can't take any more air in. Pause. And now exhale nice and slow. Try to let all the air out. And at the edge of your exhalation, when your mind wants to begin again, I want you to try to just get a little bit more air out again. Pause. And then begin again. Don't worry about the total length of the breath. Inhale, exhale. time counts. But I just want you to gauge, just by paying attention, how much air you can drink in. And then when your brain says, I'm done, I want you to try to drink in a little bit more. Pause, and then move the air out consistently, smoothly. When you get to the edge of the exhalation and your mind says, okay, let's begin again, I want you to exhale a little bit more. Pause, then begin again. If the mind wants to wander away, that's normal. It doesn't mean you have to wander off with it. I'm sure we've all used that phrase on someone that we love. Pay attention. That's what I want you to do right here. Just pay attention. Really challenge the inhale. Expand yourself as much as you can. Don't be afraid to hear your own breathing. And then exhale, move all the air out. It's kind of like rotten food in your refrigerator. You have stale air often sitting in your lungs. Get all of that air out. So at the edge of this last exhalation, get all the air out as much as you possibly can. And then on the inhalation, stretch your legs out, stretch your arms overhead, purposefully arc your back, purposefully reach fingertips to toes. My favorite is when those little babies stretch in their crib and they wake up. It's like, don't even try to pick them up. They're just like frozen in that stretch. And then exhale, just gently bring one knee at a time into the chest. Give yourself a gentle little hug and just gently rock now side to side or draw circles on your sacrum. This might seem like a very small, almost pointless movement, but what it does is it really helps your lower spinal cord, your sacrum, your lower back. Just kind of recognize that there's going to be movement, there's fluidity. And then roll yourself off to your side. Gently curl yourself up to a seated position. Just try to sit nice and tall. Bring your hands to your heart. Gently bow the head with gratitude. Thank you so much for coming to practice this morning. I hope you enjoyed class. And until I see you again, which I hope is soon, from my heart to yours, from my soul to yours, move forward into today with a fullness of breath. Namaste.
Namaste.
Have a great morning. Thank you guys for coming.